The stone that sealed the entrance had been removed, and Jesus' body was gone. The linens that had been wrapped so carefully around his body were rolled up, just lying there. Mary stood weeping outside the tomb, trying to figure out how any of this made sense. What had happened? It was like somebody was pulling a practical joke on them. The body was gone. They'd done so much evil to it before he died, and now it seemed that they had come back to torment it some more. They'd worried about this. Where was it? Mary cries out, "They have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him." Little did they know, it wasn't a practical joke on them at all. If anything, it was a practical joke on Satan. You see, God played the cards wisely. God took this weak little man, a scraggly-looking carpenter in the Middle East, and fooled Satan in a way that only God could. Who would have ever figured that it was God inside this man, Jesus, like a Trojan horse waiting for the perfect moment to show himself? Think about it. God just sitting there in that body for the moment that nobody would expect it. Like a good practical joke, Satan never saw it coming. Can you just imagine his face when Jesus burst his bubble, popping his head out behind a door in hell and saying, "Boo! I'm here to take over. Your power is gone. Sin and death too. It's over for you all." Now, as a pastor, I try hard to make sure that people see that Satan is much more than a red man with pointy tail and horns like you see on Halloween. But in this case, it's kind of fun to think about him standing there, wrapped in a towel, just getting out of the shower, and Jesus scaring him to death. God in the only place that God has never been before. Boo! I've got you now, Satan. Can you just imagine the surprise when God reached that place where nobody ever expected him to go? The place of the dead, really? I mean, God dead? Who expected that was possible? For me, that's an even bigger surprise than even the resurrection. Of course God can do that, but die and still be the ever-living God? Nobody ever thought that was possible. Can you imagine the holy laughter that rained down from heaven as Satan's towel and jaw dropped, exposing his weakness and leading to his final defeat? I like to think that the angels are still laughing. And can you imagine at the tomb, back on the surface of the earth, where the surprise of Mary and Peter and the other disciples turned to joy and laughter when they finally realized what that empty tomb really meant? A holy laughter that echoes down through time into our world today, filling our hearts with an Easter morning joy that makes us smile ear to ear. It's a practical joke that's better than any joke ever. Nobody saw it coming. Not Satan, not even Jesus' closest disciples. Nobody saw the resurrection of Jesus Christ coming. It's been said that the greatest trick that Satan ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist. Oh, he's a crafty one. But as we hear again today, he's got nothing on God. The holy laughter at the resurrection got the biggest laugh, and it always will. Because of the consequences. The results of God's epic practical joke last forever. Sure, Satan may be the classic trickster, but nobody can outwit God. He's got things up his sleeve that nobody can imagine. That is the God we worship here. The God of joy and laughter and love. The God who continually surprises us all. For this and for the greatest practical joke ever played, the resurrection of Jesus Christ, today we say, Alleluia and Amen.